I think it already records us. Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can see us and hear us all right. We'll get started here in a minute. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is our MailerLite Getting Started session for beginners or just anyone new to their account. We'll be going over everything for beginners, so on a more basic level, but just going over an overview of different parts of MailerLite. Feel free to ask questions along the way. You should be able to see both a webinar chat and a Q&A. The Q&A is best for questions, so we'll be able to see it. In the webinar chat, you won't be able to actually type into it. That's just for panelists to add knowledge base articles or any resources like that. But for any questions during the session, feel free to ask in the Q&A, and we will try to get those answered for you. All right, the session is being recorded and will also be sent out after it is over and should be about an hour, maybe less. Let's go ahead and get started. So just quick intro, my name is Harmony. I'm a customer education specialist here at MailerLite. So I help write the knowledge base articles, host these webinars, and then also work with our tutorials. And then speaking of tutorials, I also have Alex here with me. He's co-hosting the session, so he'll be hosting the first half. And he's our video producer, so he's also, if you've seen some of our tutorials, he is in a lot of those. So we are both hosting the session today. And just to go over what we'll be talking about, so like I said, it will be a basic overview of all of this, so not going too in depth into anything, but we'll be going over subscribers first, and Alex will be showing importing and collecting, so how to import subscribers to MailerLite using a file, and then also collecting subscribers using both forms and landing pages. And then I'll talk more about campaigns, and that'll be sending one-off campaigns as well as setting up automations. So I'll go over the difference and what those both look like. And then at the end, if there's any questions that we can answer that haven't been answered, we will go over those and then just share more resources for you. Okay. Again, feel free to ask any questions along the way. Before we get into any demos, I'll just quickly go over the plan levels that we have here at MailerLite. So depending on where you are, if you've just started with signing up or if you've been with us for a little bit, you might be on the 14-day free trial or you might be on a free plan. The free plan really does have everything you need to get started. So you can still build campaigns or newsletters. You can still create email automations, also known as workflows. You can still build websites and landing pages. There's just a limit to those. You still have plenty of reporting features, so you can still see all of your analytics, as well as sign up forms and pop-ups, so you can still create forms. And then once you have a larger list, your subscribers grow, and you want to have more sending, less limits, and more sending features, you can go into the growing business or advanced plan. Growing business just gives you a little bit more. So you have unlimited templates. So the free plan doesn't include templates as far as like campaign and landing pages beyond the free trial. But it does, when you are in the growing business, you also get more sending options like auto resend, unlimited websites and landing pages, so no more limits there. Unsubscribe page builder, so more options for customizing your unsubscribe page, more testing options, as well as the ability to have custom domains, which is a big one. Especially if you are building landing pages and websites, you will want those custom domains. And then advanced plans, that's when you have the AI features, HTML if you're building with code, multiple trigger automations, which I will talk a little bit more about when we go over automations, but just a way to create more complex workflows. Unlimited account users, which is a big one too, if you do have a larger team and you want different people to be able to access the account. And then as well as unlimited monthly emails if you are sending to a larger list and sending more often. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the overview. So over in this demo, we will go over these areas: subscribers, where contacts are managed, forms and landing pages, so the ways to build your list or have people sign up to your list, campaigns and automations, so both ways to send out newsletters, campaigns just being where you create a newsletter and you either send it right away or schedule it, whereas automations are full sequences that can have multiple campaigns or they can have different steps along the way. So we'll go over all of this. Before I hand over to Alex and we get into talking about subscribers, I'll just go over quick, like talking about why it matters before we talk about importing subscribers. Good list hygiene and deliverability. So when we say good list hygiene, we really just mean making sure that the list that you are importing or that you are adding to MailerLite or that any way that you are collecting subscribers, that you do have their consent, that they know that they're being added as subscribers, that they're going to receive your newsletter, whatever that content is, that they are that their information is being collected. So they do have to opt in. That could be through a sign up form. That could be if they purchased something and they were, informed that they'd be added to a newsletter as well. There's lots of ways that a subscriber can opt in, but it's very important that they do, not just for deliverability, but also just, yeah, to avoid spam filters for deliverability. It is just better because if subscribers know that they have signed up to your list or that they know that they're on your list, they're more likely to open your newsletters and actually engage with them versus to mark as spam or unsubscribe. So that is just one of the rules at MailerLite. Anything that any subscriber that you are importing, adding, signing up in any way does need to sign up themselves. They need to opt in. So then, okay, I will go ahead and pass over to Alex to show the process of importing subscribers, creating a basic sign up form, as well as just what a basic landing page looks like. All right,
Alrighty.
where are
Thank you
you?
very much, Harmony. So yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at importing subscribers. Just a moment here. Should be able to see my MailerLite dashboard now. So what we're going to do to import subscribers, we're going to head over to the subscribers tab on the left sidebar right underneath the dashboard. And there are a few different ways that you can add subscribers and manage them within your account. So once you get to your subscribers tab, you'll be able to see an overview of subscriber management. We'll give you a list of all of your active subscribers, as well as a way to quickly create segments so you can like do very high engagement activities with your list. To go ahead and add subscribers. So if you're just getting into your account, you're going to hit this nice big green add subscribers button. And then once you do that, you'll be taken over to the add subscribers window. Here you'll be able to see different options for adding subscribers. So we've got import from a CSV or text file. You can copy and paste from Excel. You can add a single subscriber, import from MailChimp, or import using an API. To go ahead and start, let's go ahead and click on the upload file option. And that'll let you import a document that you have containing your subscriber list. Then a quick tip is you want to keep your files very simple. So you'll have all of your data in columns. So like email, you'll have all your emails, and then in name, you'll have all the names, etc. Once you go to import, you can kind of take a look at what that's going to look like in the account. So once you click the next button, you'll be able to see what fields are being added. We've uploaded this demo list a few times, so a lot of you are going to say skip because the information is already in our document. So fun fact, if you are adding duplicate like emails or duplicate data for subscribers, it's not going to duplicate the same subscriber. MailerLite is smart enough to only update information, and you're not going to have like you can't have like 10 of the same subscriber. It's going to have only update their information or skip if you already have it. As well, when you're uploading, you can choose to add them to a group, add the subscribers to a group. If you'd like to create a new group, you can do that as well. Simply type in the name of the group and then click add new group, and it'll add them to that group that you've just created. All right, we're going to go ahead and scroll down now and then hit finish import. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you want to only import valid opted-in emails. This will help you avoid unsubscribes, bounces, and spam complaints. You don't want to be importing any emails that have not opted in to receive communications from you because that is going to harm your list hygiene and make it easier for your emails to be thrown into spam by email providers. Just make sure that you are using best practices when you are adding subscribers to your email list. All right, so now we're going to go back over to adding subscribers. So again, you can copy and paste from Excel as well as uploading a file. So here we have the email address, first name, last name. This is the basic format for how you want to have your files when you're importing or copy and pasting from an Excel document or from Google Docs. When you're adding a single subscriber, you can add their email and name. You can also show more fields if you want to have more fields for them. So last name, company, any data that you have collected from them when they opted into receiving your email communications, you can add those all over here as well. And then as well, same as before, you can add them to a group. If you are migrating from MailChimp, you can also import your list from MailChimp by clicking this button over here, and then you'll be guided through the steps to complete this process. And then we also have import using our API. So over here, you can go to documentation to view any documentation that you need to get this process started and generate new token. Back over in the subscribers tab. When it comes to subscriber management, there are a couple of ways that subscribers are categorized or that you are able to categorize them and then interact with them in your account. That's going to be with groups and segments. I'm going to keep it pretty high level for now because you can get very detailed with these. But one thing to keep in mind is that groups are manual. These are, you can think of them kind of like tags. They're going to be used for organizing your subscribers like we just saw. So if you have a specific form, then you could have a group tied to that form. So say Valentine's Day is coming up and you want to collect subscribers with a special Valentine's Day promotion. When you are creating that form, you would add them to a group, say like Valentine's Day signups. Let me head over to the groups tab so you can kind of see groups that we have already listed as I'm talking about this. But you can see like we have people who have clicked but never purchased, people who are interested in hiking adventures, highly engaged subscribers, customers. So these are going to be things that you create manually, and you are manually adding them to these groups, or when you are using a form, they're signing up and being added directly into this group. Segments are a little bit different. You can think of these things as rules. So these are auto updated by rules that you create. So say inactive subscribers, for instance, if you have people who have not engaged with your emails in a specific time period, you can have them automatically categorized to this group. As soon as they become active again, they'll be removed from that segment without you having to do anything. One example that we can see here, if you're in the All Subscribers tab, this segment here at the top, these are going to be able to help you quickly create segments to engage with your audience in a very targeted way. So for instance, if we click re-engage inactive subscribers, it's going to automatically create the rules that you would need to re-engage inactive subscribers. So it says email actions not opened and not clicked. So people who have not opened or clicked any emails within the last, and we have 90 days. Again, you can change this. And campaigns, so they was not open or was opened, and any campaign. So this is like if they did not, like if they didn't engage any campaign, then this is going to be adding them automatically into this segment. We do have articles and tutorials to help you learn more and get started with groups and segments. So definitely want to check out those resources. And if you want to take a deep dive into how to best make the use of those features. Alrighty. So next, I want to go over to sign up forms because I had mentioned before when you are collecting subscribers, forms are going to be a really big way that you do this. So we'll hop over to the Forms tab in the left sidebar. Hit Create Form. Alrighty, then we're going to go to Form Name. All right, so you have three different types of forms that you're able to create. There are pop-up forms, embedded forms, and promotions. Again, we have tutorials and videos and knowledge-based articles for how to use and create each one of these. Today, we're just going to keep it high level and go over pop-up forms. One thing to keep in mind, embedded forms are on a fixed location on your website. So it'll be something similar to like this field right over here. It's like fixed. If I scroll, it's not going to move. Pop-up forms, well, let's go ahead and go into those. They're going to be a pop-up form. It's going to pop up on your website or landing page when someone visits your site or landing page. Once you click next, you can add them to a subscriber group. Again, you can add a new group here as well if you'd like. Once you select it, scroll down to continue. And then we've got a couple of different options for how you can start it. So you can start with a template that we've got pre-made for you, pre-designed. But for right now, we're going to click Start from Scratch so that you can kind of get an overview for what our form builder looks like. So let's hit Create. And then within the form builder, this is our drag and drop builder. So this format is going to look familiar the more that you interact with any of our functions, whether that's campaign, landing pages, or these forms. It's going to look pretty similar or familiar to you as you go into them. This is drag and drop. So if you'd like to add any particular element, like say you want to add an image, simply drag it from the left over to the right, and then you'll be able to interact with it from there. This was an image block, so to add an image, simply click into it, and then you can hover over this select image button. That'll take you over to our file manager where you can add any particular image that you would like to add. All right, as well for fields. So over here, if you want to customize the fields, you simply click into it, and then you can click add field. Right now I have email, but if you want to, you can add name. You can rearrange the field where it goes. See that it auto updates right over here as you do that. You can add many other fields that you have. We do again have videos and knowledge base articles about managing custom fields. So definitely check that out if you want to get a little bit more specific with the fields. If you want to change any of the text, simply click into a text block and you can just type away as you would like to. To get to any text tools, when you highlight text, you'll see this toolbar pop up that'll let you, format the font size, change bold, list style, or other many different ways to customize your text. If you're on our free trial as well, you'll have access to our AI suggestions tool, and that'll let you work with an AI tool to automatically like fill it, use text-based prompts to fill in text and then customize from there. You may have noticed as well on the right sidebar, we've got different options for how to customize the look of your form. So right now it's set to Lightbox, but if you play around in here, you can really get custom with how you'd like this to appear. We can got a lot of different ways for you to make this your own and make it fit really well within your website or your landing page. And again, if you want to learn more about how to use this form builder, definitely check out our tutorials and knowledge base articles. Next, we're going to go ahead and hit done editing so we can move on to the next part of the form building process, because designing is just one part of it. You want to get over to display rules so we can show how this form is going to behave. So you can see at the top here we have trigger. You can have it just set to wait for 5 seconds before showing the pop-up. You can have it set to show when they scroll down 50%, or just have it set to when they close the page. And again, you can do any sort of combination of these options here. Below that, you can set how often you want it to appear to the same user. So we have it by default just like once a month, but you can change that number to any number that you'd like and change that to months, weeks, days, or just have it always appear to the same user. So anytime they go to your site, it'll reappear again. And if you notice when you select always, the day or the number option disappears. For schedule, you can have it set to specific timing as well. Right now it's set to none, but you can set it to a specific time. So again, with Valentine's Day popping up, if you want to have this appear only for that weekend, say Friday to Sunday or Friday to Monday, have it start on Friday and have it automatically stop showing again Sunday or Monday. And then you don't have to do anything. Once you set that, the pop-up will only show during this specific period and then it will turn off. So if you have this on your main website for a special promotion or a landing page, then you don't have to set like manually add it and then remove it from the page. It will just show when it's supposed to and then stop when it's supposed to. And then down in visibility, again, you can have it set to always show up, hide on specific pages, or to show on specific pages if you've got this on your website. You can show or hide it on mobile devices or desktop or tablet, however you would like to customize this. Once you're done, go ahead and hit Save Changes. And then you're going to be using the JavaScript tracking snippet to add this to your website or landing page, like if you have a builder like Wix or WordPress. Um, or to say, if you have WordPress, you would go down here and then use the sign up forms plugin because then that'll automatically install the snippet. And again, once you go through the form creation process, you'll get a couple of links where it will show you how to get this set up. So this works for WordPress or Shopify. If you use a different provider, then you may want to check with them specifically for how to add this snippet just before your closing head tag because it can be different depending on which provider you are using for your website. Alrighty, so then we're going to hit continue. And that'll take you over to your form overview where you can then go in and um, tweak anything that we just went over. So you can edit the design, you can view analytics, view any automation that it's part of, and then change anything for behavior. And again, access that snippet. For now, we're going to leave it over here, but again, highly recommend you check out our resources, tutorials, and knowledge base articles for how to just get really in depth with the form builder. Next, I want to go over to landing pages because that is one of the things that you can use to, again, collect subscribers. So let's head over to Sites on the left sidebar. And we're going to hit Create Site and give your site a name. And then make sure that it is toggled over to landing page rather than website. Hit Save and Continue. And then again, add them, select a group that you're going to add subscribers to, because again, forms and landing pages are for adding or collecting subscribers. Generally collecting subscribers and or a specific function that you have. But again, when it comes to landing pages, highly recommend you to check out our guide to go onto landing page best practices and to learn more about how to best make the use of landing pages. So once again, we've got a couple of different options here. You can select from our template gallery if you would like to have a professional design ready to go. You can also build a landing page with AI if you're on one of our advanced plans. This is going to be text-based prompting, so you tell it what your website is for, and then it's going to create that for you automatically in a number of seconds or minutes, depending on your connection. But for now, we are going to select Start from Scratch because that'll kind of give you an overview for what things look like. And then when you are working with our templates or again with an AI build page builder, then you can customize it from there and you'll know kind of your way around the builder. So let's hit Start from Scratch. Some use cases for a landing page are going to be things like lead magnets. So if you are collecting subscribers and you're going to be offering a specific web-based course or a PDF or some kind of download, you'll use a landing page for that. Single promo offers. So if you have a website, but you have a specific promotion for something, like again, like a landing page special, you can create a landing page or a Valentine's Day special. You can create a landing page specifically for that. If you have a specific call to action that you would like to create, so like you specifically want people to sign up for one thing that you have running. Again, landing pages are great to get very specific options for sign up. Alrighty, so now we're in the builder. And then again, it should look kind of familiar. It's similar format. You've got the left sidebar and the center area. If we drag something in, so let's go over to sections, or I guess let me go over this real quick. We have elements first at the very top. That's going to be things like your content, so headings, images, videos, text, um, social buttons. We've also got sections. So down here, right below elements. These are going to be sections of what you think of them as like sections of a website. So you've got the hero section. It's a preset combination of different elements that you can use to design your website and make it look professional very quickly. So even if you don't start with a template, you can just drag in a bunch of these, and then we've designed them so that they all kind of fit together and can make a nice website just by clicking and dragging them in. So let's say we start with a hero section, which looks pretty good as it is. You have this top section, you've got like a heading, and then a button. And these again, to customize them, you simply click into them, and then you can begin to customize them however you would like. Same with the button. If you want to change where the button goes, oops, let me add that back in there. To change where the button goes, simply hover over or click into it and then click link or attach. Sorry. And then content. We can drag in some content as well, just below this section. And you'll see a little green line up here with where the box is going to appear as you drag it in. And then again, you can just keep on dragging these in to make your website. And then again, you just customize it however you would like to get your website or landing page looking just the way that you want it to look. One thing to keep in mind with landing pages, they are designed to collect emails, but in order to do that, you would need to manually add in that specific block. So again, for here, it's either going to be in the elements section. You could add in a sign up form. Under sections, it'll be under CTA. And then you can customize that as well. Same thing as before. When you click in, there are options to customize. It'll appear on the right sidebar. And then just like with forms, you can add those in. It really functions the same way. You can use pop-up forms when it comes to landing pages as well. Excuse me. So yeah, you can use this form. You can also use you can use our pop-up forms and you can use both if you would like to have multiple ways to get subscribers into your list and begin interacting with them. To learn a bit more about how to use landing pages, again, check out our resources, tutorials, and or our knowledge base articles. All right, same as before, we're going to go ahead and hit done editing. And then you get to page settings. So when you are on the free plan, you will have this default URL, subscribepage.io. You can customize what comes after that if you would like. And then if you have a paid plan, you'll be able to use a custom domain. The favicon is a icon that appears when you have a multiple tabs on the landing page, like and the landing page open. There'll be a little icon next to your landing page name. You can customize that. Um, you can customize the SEO settings, sharing settings, and analytics and custom code. Again, we're not going to go too far into detail right now, but you will be presented with this option once you finish designing your page. And then once you're done, hit save and continue. And then same as with the forms, you'll be taken over to the overview afterwards. So here you can view all the details about your landing page. You can go over to the analytics, see any automations, domains, etc. associated with your landing page. For now, that'll about do it. We're going to want to move into campaigns next, so I'll pass it back over to Harmony to handle our campaigns or one-off emails, and then she can take it from here.
Great. Thank you, Alex. I will just share my screen. We had some good questions. Okay, so we just went over importing subscribers, creating a basic sign-up form with the example of a pop-up form. You can also create an embedded form. We didn't show that, but there are two types of forms you can create for collecting subscribers. And then also the basics of a landing page. So hopefully that gave you kind of a preview of how each of these features work, how everything looks. And now we'll go into creating and sending a campaign, whether it's your first campaign or just wanting to know more about campaigns. So campaign newsletter is the same thing. I'll be going over choosing a template versus starting from scratch, kind of what the difference is, what they both look like, adding content to your newsletter, so different text, images, buttons, how to personalize it, make it look like your brand, as well as personalization as far as adding like your subscriber's name, for example, or other information you might have on your subscribers, previewing and testing before sending it out, as well as what it looks like to send versus schedule it in advance. Then we'll also go into automating welcome emails. This will be just automation workflow overview in general, not so much it has to be welcome emails, but just the functionality of automations. The main difference, as I mentioned before, campaigns, it's just one newsletter, it's one email, whereas automations, it's an entire sequence of emails of different steps. So they do save time and they keep subscribers engaged. So if you haven't really explored automations, this is important. It's very useful, and no matter what you're setting up, there are lots of different ways to use automations. So we'll go into setting up a basic welcome automation, adding a second follow-up email, as well as the different triggers. So if they click a link, we'll send another email based on that. We'll go over what all of this is about. Okay, let's go ahead and just switch back over into the app. One moment. Okay, you should be able to see my dashboard here. Let's go ahead and go right into campaigns. And you can see here we have sent, drafts, and outbox. Sent, of course, are the ones that we've already sent. And here you can view the report and see all the analytics for the past campaigns you've already sent. Drafts will be those that are in edits or they're being created, so they're not fully done, they haven't been scheduled or anything, so they sit here. And then if they are scheduled but they're not being sent out right away, they'll appear in the outbox. So let's go ahead and go back here and go to create campaign. There are 5 different campaign types. We'll be just showing regular campaign for this demo. That is available to everybody on every plan level, and it is the most common that you will use. It's just an average newsletter. There's nothing advanced about the testing about it or anything, but you can get into A/B split campaigns, which is more advanced testing, as well as multivariate, auto resend, and RSS. So some of these, such as multivariate and auto resend, are available on higher plans only, but it's just more ways to test different options. And for example, RSS, if you have a RSS feed for a blog, you can use an RSS campaign. In this case, we will just choose regular campaign. Here we have some options. So start from scratch is what we'll be using, but I will just show our templates here. So templates are available on the free trial for the first 14 days, but not after that on the free plan. So after that, you will just have access to the templates that you created before, but not all of the templates that are here. Those are available on paid plans, but you can see we have all different industries and different brands, different formats. So if you just need some inspiration or not sure how to get started with the design, have a look at any of the templates and then you can just customize anything there. But in this case, I will just start from scratch. So you can see the basic editor. And we do have 3 different types: drag and drop, which is the one we'll be using. It is the most common. It's the one I recommend if you are just getting started or in general. Rich text is a bit more simple. It is mainly just for text-based emails only. And then the custom HTML is for those editing with code. That is available on a higher plan as well. Drag and drop is available to everybody, and that is what I do recommend using. Let's go ahead and just go into the editor, give it a minute here. Okay, so this is the kind of basic design of the drag and drop editor. Anything you see here can be customized. So all the logos, images, text, any images that you want to resize, it's very easy to just go in the corner, drag, resize. If you want to edit any text, you just click into it and type. So anything that you want to edit, it is very easy to change. You can also edit fonts, anything like that. Buttons, you can click to add links. So this is great for adding links to your website, adding if you want to have lead magnets and add files, anything like that. You can add those to buttons. And then the footer, which is always has to be there, that just has your address, your company address, and the unsubscribe. But you can add lots of other things as well. So you can add navigation bars, you can add hero blocks, you can have different elements like titles, quotes, buttons, all different things. You can separate things into sections and then drop different elements into those sections. I will show that. So you can have, let's say, text, image, and set things up however you like with the 3 blocks. Or you can just drag and drop different elements into your newsletter. To move blocks around, you can use these arrows. You can see when I hover over different blocks, there's different settings that appear for that block only. So one of those are these arrows that allows you to easily just move things up and down, but you can also drag blocks around to move. It's also very easy to remove. It's very easy to save blocks for other campaigns. So let's say that you don't necessarily want to reuse this entire design, but you do want to use this block maybe again for a different campaign. You can save it, and that allows you to reuse it again in other campaigns in the future. And those saved blocks will be up here. That's very useful. You can also duplicate very easily. And I also mentioned about adding your subscribers' names or any information into the email. For something like that, you can start with something like, hello. And then you see here, when I'm typing, there's this bar that appears, this edit bar. There is a variable button. And when you click that, there's different options. Name is one of those that are listed, but these are all of the custom fields that I have in my account. So I also have order types, I also have subscription dates. I have a lot of other information besides just their name, but to keep it simple, I'll choose name. And whatever variable I add there, that is what will be inputted. Of course, if we have that information. So if I didn't have my subscriber's name, nothing would really show there if I had this. But if they do, it says hello and then their name plus whatever other information we would want to add by using variables. We do have more information on how to use variables, how to really customize your newsletter, personalize it using those. I highly recommend checking our knowledge base for that. But that's just kind of a basic, easy way to add the name. And if you want to change any images, you can see when I hover over image, I have this edit bar here. If I hit replace image, I'm taken to my file manager, which is images and files that I've already had imported there, or I can upload new ones and then simply replace whichever image. Then if I want to preview and test, I go up here. Preview mode is, as it sounds, it's just to check how it's going to look. So you can check both the desktop and mobile view. You cannot edit the mobile independently, that view independently, but it will always be optimized. So it'll always take whatever is on the desktop view and optimize it to mobile, but you can see your newsletter there. But that kind of shows you a generic preview of a newsletter. It will look different in each inbox. So Gmail looks a little different than Outlook, for example. So to see how these designs and how things look in different inboxes, you can also send a test email. This is also good for deliverability because if you send a test email and it lands in spam, for example, it kind of shows maybe that you need to use a different domain or there's something wrong with there's something wrong there. But you can send a test, have the email that you want to send to, and then click send test. That will just send an email to the inbox and you could see the full design. Okay. Aside from the edit bars that you see when I hover over, you can also see when I click into certain blocks, there's options on the right here. So these will change based on which block you click. So to edit different headings, button styles of individual blocks, you just click into it like that. Okay, let's go done editing when we're finished. If there are any buttons with URLs, with missing URLs, it will give you this disclaimer, but right now we don't need to worry about that. But that is good, so just you are not sending buttons without them leading to anywhere. These are where you set the campaign details. So now we get to talk about like things like name, subject, sender. The campaign name is internal, so it's not really something that your subscribers will see. It's meant for organization. So if this is one of the first campaigns I'm sending, I might just put, welcome campaign. So I know that's what it is. But then the subject is, of course, what they will see. So here we do have some AI suggestions here, but you can see we can also just add our subject line. You can also add the variables, the personalization here. If you click Insert Personalization, you get that same information that we saw before. So if I click Name, and then let's say I want to add just one emoji. So this will say, welcome to our newsletter, and then whatever their name is. And we might have collected their name different ways. If you have sign-up forms, for example, usually you will ask for email and name. So that is usually one way you have a name collected. If you're importing subscribers, you might have a column that has their names. So that can be another way. If you do have a paid plan, we do have the AI suggestions here, as you can see. Sender, that could be, your business, it could be your name, be both. And then the sender email will be the email that is being used to send from. This is where we talk about things like paid domains. We really don't recommend, it's not recommended in general as a best practice to send from, Gmail or anything like that. Certain inboxes won't even accept those. So it's really better to have a paid domain that you have an inbox for. So this is a sending domain that I'm using, which means that this is an inbox that can receive emails. So if anyone were to reply to my email, it won't show up in MailerLite. It'll show in the inbox of this email. So that email has to have an inbox. Um, Even if this isn't a website, even if that doesn't have a website, it's the email itself. Okay, and then you can have the pre-header, which is right after the subject line, so they will still see that. You can put anything here. And then recipients, of course, is where you select who's receiving the newsletter. So select recipients. And then here, you can see we have the option to select all subscribers that we have in our account. So this is all active subscribers, of course, not the ones who are unsubscribed or bounced or anything like that. They're all active. I can send a newsletter out to everybody on my list, or I can send a newsletter just to certain segments or certain groups. So we talked about segments and groups earlier. This is a main reason that those are created so that you are not always sending everything to your entire list. It is a better practice to send targeted emails to different groups or segments. So you can select like that. You can select multiple. You could select segments and groups together, one or the other. You can also exclude. So what that would mean is, let's say I have two different weddings here and there's no subscribers, but let's say I want to exclude one. That means that all subscribers in this group will receive this email, unless they are also in this group. So if they're in both, they will not. If they're just in this one, they will. So any group that is excluded, anyone in that group does not receive the email. That makes sense. So you choose recipients. I'll just choose all for now. Here you can do another preview. You can also send another test, and then you could also go back to the editor if you need. Continue. And then this next part is where we go send or schedule. So Either send it right now as we've created it, it goes out to the subscribers that we've chosen immediately. We can also send it later. So scheduling in advance, we just choose the date, time, and time zone. It'll be the time zone of your account by default, but you can change that. You can also send based on time zones. So this and smart sending are also paid features, but this also just gives you more options for sending. So if you want to send an email, let's say at 10 a.m. in several different time zones, if you have subscribers in different countries, different time zones, you would use something like this. Smart sending uses AI. So if you've been sending newsletters for a little bit, it doesn't be too long, and there's some data already, then AI kind of knows when subscribers open emails the most, and it'll send based on that. But everyone on any plan level can send now, of course, or send later. And that's it. That is it for campaigns. Okay. I will then now go over to automations and talk a little bit about that, and then we will wrap up the session. All right, this is our automations page. So here you also see two different areas, workflows and drafts. Workflows are automations that are already done. They've been created. They might not be activated, so subscribers might not be going through them, but they are fully created and ready to be activated. So if they're in the workflows tab, you can see we can either view the report of what's already happened if they're activated, if it's activated, or click activate on the ones that have not been. Drafts, similar to campaigns, drafts just shows which ones are in the middle of being created. They're not done. They cannot be activated yet, mostly because certain steps are not finished or it doesn't end in a way that can be, that an automation can end. So for whatever reason, these need to be completed. Let's go with new automation. Similar again to campaigns and other areas of our app, you have the option to start from scratch always or choose templates. Lots of these are available on the free plan. So if you've never built automations before, or if you're not sure how to get started with those, definitely look at starting from scratch just to see what the features are. But also you can choose our templates here, and this will give you the outline of an automation. So it gives you the trigger, which is how subscribers enter the workflow. And then it gives you kind of the next steps or what would follow that. And then you could fill in everything. So that works for retargeting subscribers, birthday wishes, everything like that. And then if you see advanced, that means it's for the advanced plan. And we also have some e-commerce ones here, which of course this is if you have an e-commerce connection. So WooCommerce, Shopify, any of those. But as usual, let's start from scratch so to see how it works and how to build from the start. Start building. And here we are. So this is the editor. So similar to our other editors, it's drag and drop, and it will start with triggers, which is where it automatically opens. And the trigger is just how, like, what a subscriber needs to do in order to enter this workflow, in order to be a part of this workflow. So some kind of action. Maybe they need to complete a form, and that's how they get started. It could be when they join a specific group, join a segment, click a specific link, update when a certain field is updated, as well as we have date based. So event anniversary, this is where birthdays, subscription renewals, things that reoccur every year. Exact dates, so that is more for if there's only a fixed date with month, date, and year. E-commerce, again, for those that have e-commerce connections, integrations, abandoned cart, if they buy a specific product. So this means, yes, if they buy a specific product, they enter the workflow. And we have other e-commerce ones as well. But everyone will have access to the following. So let's go with complete a form first. And this means, as it sounds, when they complete a form, that will enter them into this specific workflow. So which form? This will need to be a form in your MailerLite account. It could also be a form on a landing page. So any pop-up, any embedded form will work and save. And that's the start. If we wanted to add a second trigger, so this would mean that there would be two different ways that this workflow could be joined. We can do that. This is where multiple triggers are. This is where it's a paid feature, but I will just show it briefly, just so I can show different trigger options. These are our two most common, completes a form and joins a group, because these are the two ways that subscribers often subscribe or are added to your account and are added to workflows. So joining a group, you can choose one or multiple. And again, this is as it sounds. So when they are added to that specific group, however they join that group, whether it's they're imported into that group or they signed up to a forum that added them to that group, another automation added them to the group, however they join, they will enter that workflow. Whereas this is only if that one form is completed. So slightly different here. If I just wanted one, I could have one. I could have one more trigger if I wanted to. But let's add an email. So click the plus. And then over here we have rules and actions. So this is what happens after the trigger, after the start. After they enter the workflow, what exactly happens? We've added them to the workflow, and now what? So usually we want to start with an email, but you can start with however you like. But in this case, I'll just show the email step, send email. And wherever a send email step is placed, an email will be sent, right? That's how it sounds. So right away, it's completes a form, joins a group, receives an email. That happens automatically. So this is good. So you don't have to wait when subscribers sign up, or you have to see, when they enter groups. This is just all automatic. And then to configure which email they receive, you just click the step. And this is basically setting up a campaign. So the name, the subject, sender email, same thing, pre-header, same thing. Design email will take you right back into the campaign editor area that we just were in. So I'll show that briefly. As you can see here, I can choose a template or I can start from scratch. In this case, I'll just go back to our workflow. But once you go through what we just showed with creating a campaign, that email will be here, and that email is what will be sent during that step. And then let's say we want to have one more. So this could also just be a workflow in itself. This is essentially a completed workflow once this email is finished. But we can add as many more steps as we like, really. So let's say we want to add a follow-up email. We want them to receive two. But I don't want them to receive two right away or two back-to-back emails at the same time. So rules and actions, adding a delay. And a delay, you can see I can place it in different areas, but I want to put it between these two emails. And the reason is the delay is a pause. So it separates what happens in the workflow from happening all at once. Wherever there's a delay, the subscriber will wait for however long you decide. In this case, we could do, let's say, 3 days, but that could be minutes, hours, weeks, months, or specific times of the weekday, month, year. Save. And so now they complete the form or join the group, receive email one right away whenever they complete the form or join the group. 3 days pass, then they receive email two. And email two would be set up, the same way. If I wanted to add a bit more here, I could also create a condition. So a condition is kind of like a checkpoint. So whenever there's a condition, it's asking some sort of question, and there's a yes or no answer to that question. The question is based on the rule that you set. So there's lots of different ways to set this up. Let's go with group membership for now. And I will just choose one of the groups that we have. So what this means, group membership, and I chose a group. If I set that condition, that is essentially the question I'm asking. At this point in the automation, is the subscriber a part of this group? Is their group membership wedding date? If it is, they go down this path. If they're not a part of that group, they go down a different path. And what happens down each path can depend on whatever you add. Maybe I want to move them to a different group if they're in that wedding group. So I decide, which group I'm moving them from and which group I'm moving them to. You can also remove them from groups. So let's say I want to do that over here. Same thing. I want to go from this group, let's say, remove them from that specific group. So now we have the triggers, how they enter the automation, the first email they receive, the 3-day delay, so it doesn't all happen at once, second email. Then here, I just want to see if they're in this specific group or not. If they are, I want this to happen. If they're not, I want this to happen. And we can make it more complicated. We can unsubscribe at the end if there's, certain inactivity we're seeing. We can move to different steps in the workflow itself. So let's say I want them to go back up here, maybe. I could specify that. I want to move, I want them to reach this step and then go back or go to a different step in the workflow, let's say. So this can really be as simple or as complex as you want it to be, but that is basically how automations function. And then when they are done, you can activate it. In this case, we can't because there are a few steps that aren't fully done, like this one. So you'll be able to see which steps need to be completed. We haven't set up that email yet, so nothing there. And that is basically it. Once an automation has been running for a bit and subscribers have been going through it, then you can see the report. And the report will show you very similar to campaign reports. It'll show you who is in the workflow, the opens, clicks to open rate, all of the stats over time, stats for individual emails as well. You can see reading environments, everything you can see for campaigns. Activity gives you a more in-depth view of what's happening. So completed shows all subscribers that have completed every step in the workflow. They have been through every step and they've made it to the very end. Queued means that they're waiting at a delay step somewhere. Canceled or failed means that they were removed from the workflow for different reasons. It could be because they unsubscribed, so that we're not going to send them more emails. There's lots of reasons why, well, not lots, but there's different reasons why they could be canceled or failed. But when you go into that section, it will display the reason for each subscriber and which step they failed on. Okay, that is it. Thank you for sticking with me through the very end of this. We are basically done. I will go back to our presentation now. And that is automations and campaigns and everything else. Okay, looks like we're just at the hour mark here. So we're basically done. I'll just share some last resources here. Um, we have a knowledge base. So if you do need help with MailerLite, if anything is confusing or you just want more information or you want to kind of walk through it step by step, go ahead and head to our knowledge base. We have lots of guides there. Most include tutorials as well. So we have step-by-step video tutorials. A lot of them include Alex. We also have our MailerLite community, which hopefully our panelists can drop a link to that in the chat. I think she already did, but the community is an area for MailerLite clients to talk to each other, kind of like an open platform. So there might be some niche questions or niche things that knowledge base articles don't cover because it's account specific, but somebody else in the group, in the community, most likely has had the similar issue. So it's a good way to search for common problems or just talk to other people who may be experiencing the same thing. And then also customer support. So depending on the plan level you're at, you can reach support via the contact us page or via live chat. Otherwise, we do have lots of learning resources and we hold these sessions, these specific sessions we hold twice monthly, but we have lots of other webinars that we do throughout the month. So highly recommend just to dive into forms, automations, anything else. And we are just at the very end here. I'll just go ahead and see if there's any questions I can answer quickly. Alex, if you see any questions you want to answer live, but otherwise, I do see we answered a lot, so thank you, panelists, for that. Um, I do see a question about MailChimp. So one of the options for importing is importing through MailChimp. We have a very easy integration. So when you import a list, you can actually see the MailChimp option, which will let you connect right into your MailChimp account. And that is how you're able to bring over those tags. So those tags will become groups in MailerLite. Um, We will not have the option to download this specific Q&A, but in the follow-up email that we send out, I will add some of the top questions that were asked and answers, as well as all of the resources we shared. Our next session of beginners is next week. Is that right, Alex? I think it's a week from today. I think it's next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure. So if you didn't get a chance to follow through this session, we do have basically the same session next week. And this recording will also go out to everyone who registered. Someone asked, can I trigger an email to invite them to sign up after they submit an order? So, not in this specific way, because you cannot send an email if they have not signed up yet. So it's not really possible to send an email inviting them to sign up. It has to happen the other way around. However, if they have submitted an order, made a purchase, you can you can say in the order or in the purchase you can put that you are also adding them to an email list and give them the option to opt in to an email list. So depending on how your system is set up for e-commerce, usually when someone submits an order, you can add an option if they want to be added to your list as well. Okay, it looks like we're just past the hour, so and most questions it looks like have been answered. As I mentioned, we do hold this session monthly, twice a month, so recommend to come back and check out our resources. Otherwise, thank you everyone for joining, and we will see you in the next one. Everyone have a good rest of your day.